All right. Hey, students, we're going to start with a review for the quiz that you guys are going to have on Monday, all right? So make sure you prepare for that quiz. And I feel like a good way to prepare is to understand how exactly we solve these questions in assignment 4.2. So let's just get started. We are asked to write the equation of each graph in vertex, intercept, and standard form. The best way to start is always to just look at the graph and identify the key features. See, we got a vertex right here. It's going to be at negative 6, comma 4. So I'll just label that right here. So that is going to be negative 6. Oops. Going to be at negative 6, comma 4. Close by parentheses. Next, our A we'll find in a little bit because that involves using an equation, but our X intercepts are right here. We got one down here, one down here. Let me just label it real quick. It's negative 8, comma 0, and negative 4, comma 0. So I'll just write exactly that. Negative 6, or I'm sorry, negative 8, comma 0. And negative 4, comma 0. Finally, we have our y-intercept, but it's not visible in the graph, so we're going to have to find that another way. So if you recall, our equation for A, that was going to be rise over run squared for quadratic functions, and we start at the vertex. So if we look at the vertex, we see that we start right here, meaning we go down 1 and then 1 to the right. So the down 1 means we rise negative 1, and the 1 to the right is just a positive 1, meaning our equation is going to look something like negative 1 squared, which meaning it's like negative 1 over 1, which is just negative 1. Now that we have all these pieces, we could write each of these forms in a pretty fast manner as long as we remember what the equations look like. So this is the form for vertex. It's y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k, where h and k are our vertex. Naturally, right, it's called vertex form, so we want to make sure that we're putting the vertex in there. So let's just write it exactly as it is. Y equals a. Okay, so we know that our a is negative 1, so we're just going to put a little negative right there. Then x minus h. That's x minus h. So in this case, our h is negative 6. So we'll just write it like that. Squared plus k. Now here our k is plus 4. So we're just going to do the plus 4. Now, this might look weird because we have x minus a minus 6. So just remember, whenever we have x minus a minus 6, all of that gets changed to x plus 6. And there we go. We have our vertex form. Not that hard. For intercept form, we also want to make sure we remember it. And this one is even easier. We have y equals a, which we already know, right? It's up there, negative 1. X minus x1, x minus x2. So, having this form in mind, let's just start with y equals a, which would just be a negative 1. So I'm just going to put a little negative there. Then we have x minus x1. So our x1 and x2 in this case are going to be our roots, our zeros, our x-intercepts. So they're going to be up here. So first one's going to be minus 8. So it's x minus a minus 8. So that means it's going to be x plus 8. And we're going to have x minus a minus 4. So it's going to be x plus 4. There we go. Super easy. Just about remembering the forms and knowing what values correspond to what. Finally, we have this one, standard form, which is written like this. Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. And there are a few different ways to solve for this, but I think the best way to solve this is to FOIL either the vertex form or the intercept form. I'm going to go ahead and do the intercept form because it looks a little simpler. Meaning we do y equals negative x plus 8x plus 4. Oops, looks like a T, plus 4. And the way we FOIL is we get this first x. That means this x is going to be times this first x, which that's just going to be x squared. And that x is going to be times that 4x in the back, so it's going to be plus 4x. Next, we're going to do 8 times x. We're going to move on to this inner layer. So 8 times x right here is going to be positive 8x. And finally, we got this 8 times the 4 back there, which is a positive 32. So the first thing I see is that these terms are going to combine with each other. So it's going to be 4x plus 8x. That's 4 things plus 8 things in total. We got 12 things. A positive 12 things. And now our last step is to distribute this negative to each one of these terms, giving us all of these values but in negative. So we're going to have y equals negative x squared minus 12x minus 32. There we go. So it's about FOILing, remembering how to multiply binomials, making sure to distribute that negative correctly, and making sure we know our multiplication. But we're going to go to another example. See if we can do this one faster. So we got something like this. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. Now that we have the standard form, keep in mind that this value right here, the negative 32, always going to represent our y-intercept. So this means we got 0, negative 32. So knowing that, we can just put that into our answers. 0, negative 32. Something helpful to remember. Nevertheless, we'll continue. Let's look at this. Okay, quickly we see a vertex down here. It's going to be negative 1, 12. And then we see 2 x-intercepts at negative 3, 0, and at 1, 0. We're also looking up to have our y-intercept. So we got 0, negative 9. So that we know when we're solving for our standard form, the c is going to have to be equal to negative 9. So we'll see if that works out. So let's just fill in all this information. A is going to be equal to the rise over run squared thing, but we'll do that right now in a little bit. Find our y-intercept, 0, negative 9. Just remember it's rise over run squared from the vertex, meaning if we zoom into the vertex, go 1, 2, 3, and then 1 to the right. We go up 3, and then we go 1 to the right. Meaning we got something like 3 over 1 squared, which is just going to be equal to 3. Perfect. We got this. Let's just recall our forms. Y equals ax minus h squared plus k for the vertex. Knowing that, we got y is equal to a. In this case, it's 3. X minus h. H is negative 1. So it's x minus a negative 1. And it's going to be x plus 1 squared. And it's going to be plus k. In this case, it's 12. Or you know what? It's negative 12, actually. It's minus 12. I apologize about that. It's supposed to be a little negative 12 right here. Not a positive 12. It's x minus 12. Finally, we got our intercept form. A is equal to x minus x1, x minus x2. So we just look at our roots, our x-intercepts, and we put those corresponding values. So y equals a, which is 3, and we do x minus x1. So we have minus 3, should be x minus a negative 3, meaning it's x plus 3. And finally, x minus 1. From here, now that we wrote our two forms, we can go ahead and FOIL one of them out. I'm still going to do the intercept form, although both will work. We'll see what answer we get. So we're going to do this x times x, which is going to be equal to x squared Do this x times the negative 1, which is going to be a minus x. I'm going to do this 3 times x, which is plus 3x. Finally, the 3 times the negative 1, minus 3. Finally, we can write all these values by distributing. Actually, first, let's combine the like terms. Negative x plus 3x is going to be 2x. Here we distribute this 3 to each one of these terms, giving us y equals 3x squared minus positive 2x. So it's going to be plus 6x, because 3 times 2x is 6x. Finally, 3 times a negative 9, that's what we get. And let's just check that that negative 9 is equal to our y-intercept. And yes, it is. So first, it's important to find all of your key characteristics, your key features of your function, and then being able to remember what the graphs are, the forms of vertex, intercept, and standard form. And now that you have that, you're going to be able to just plug in the values, maybe expand it out, FOIL it out, so that you can get the standard form. That's going to be the systematic process to solve these types of problems. And if you're able to do this, if this comes easy to you, or if you practice and study it, then I'm sure you'll do good on the quiz on Monday. All right.